All right, solving linear equations. I've got 10 equations where the unknown is just on one side of the equality. And then I've got 8 questions that have got the unknown variable on both sides. So it's basically just a bit of a recap. Hopefully the sound of the rubbish truck isn't going to stay around for too long. Alright, so pause the video, give these a go on pen and paper, and then review. So, question 1, 4t plus 3 is all being divided by 2, and that equals 1. So we want to basically undo this equation, or rearrange it for t. So we need to undo the 3 operations on t. So the first one we want to undo is there's a division by 2. So we've got to undo the division by 2. So we've got to times both sides by 2. Because you have to do the same thing to both sides of an equality. Otherwise, you don't keep the balance, if you will. So multiplying both sides by 2 is going to kill that denominator. 4t plus 3 is equal to 2. Now we're going to subtract 3 off both sides of the equation. So that plus 3 minus 3 cancel out. 4t is equal to negative 1. And now we want to divide both sides by 4 to get rid of the multiplication by 4. The same way that we multiplied to get rid of division, we divide to get rid of multiplication. So t is negative 1 over 4. Okay, obviously the second question is in the same form, so hopefully now you might be able to pause and actually be able to achieve this question. Alright, so multiply both sides by 4 to get rid of that denominator. So that 4z plus 1 is equal to 12. Now we're going to have to subtract 1 off both sides. So that 4z equals 11. And now we're going to divide both sides by 4 so that we just have 1z. And that's going to be 11 over 4 or 2 and 3/4. But just leave it as 11 over 4. You're just solving. Okay, question 3 and 4 is basically just showing you that it doesn't matter which side the variable is on. So now the number is on the left, because obviously an equal sign goes both ways. So we're going to multiply. I'm going to stop switching to the red pen now. We're just going to multiply by 2. That's going to give 18 is equal to 8x minus 6. We're going to add 6 to both sides to get rid of that negative 6. So that 24 is equal to 8x. Now we're going to divide by 8, which gives 3 equal to x. So there's our solution. Question 4, multiply both sides by 2, gives 14 and leaves 6x minus 4 on that side. Adding 4 to 14 gives 16. And now we just got to divide that 6 out. So just an x is left. And that's 16 over 6 or 8 over 3. So there's our first 4. Next question, or questions. So now this is slightly different. So if you saw on the first set of questions, they had the variable and their addition, subtraction, then division. But now we've got division, then our subtraction. These are pretty weak examples. They're all minus 2. Okay, so the first thing we want to do here is add 2 to both sides. That's going to kill the negative 2 here. 5a over 3 is equal to 7. Now I just got to times by 3. So that 5a is 21. That's going to kill that 3 in the denominator. And now I'm going to divide by 5. So 21 over 5. And that can't be simplified. Same deal, we're going to add 2 to both sides. So that 5r over 2 is equal to 8. Times by 2, 5r is 16. And then divide by 5, 16 over 5. Cool. Hopefully you can't hear the rubbish trucks. Usually why I do all my videos early in the day, because things start happening on the street after about 10. Okay, question 7. Again, add 2 to both sides. 5x over 2 is 7. Times by 2, 14. Divide by 5. 14 over 5. Can't be simplified. Add 2. 5a over 3 is 7. Times by 3. 5a is 21. Divide by 5. 21 over 5. So, actually, it's just the same as question 5. So, my bad. Okay. Now, 2 more. This is an interesting one. I'm going to do these 2 different ways. Okay, so solving mathematical equations is a lot like playing sport or solving a puzzle like a Sudoku or even like a jigsaw puzzle. No 2 problems are the same. What is the same though is your repertoire of skills. Okay, so you have a bank or wallet or, a box of tricks, and you want to be able to apply your different tricks to different problems. So if you're trying to learn maths by memorizing each problem or trying to memorize steps that you need to do, well, you're not learning maths at all. Learning maths is building that toolkit of skills that you can apply to lots of different problems. So you've got to understand that you're going to be hit with a different problem. So question 11 and 12 here, if I had them, would then be different problems. You're not going to be able to take the exact same steps that you used for 9 and apply them to question 12. So that's what we're trying to learn here. So I'm going to do these 2 different ways. The first way is I'm going to subtract 3 off both sides of this equation. So that 4z over 5 is equal to 2. Now I'm going to multiply by 5. So that 4z is 10. I'm going to divide by 4. So that z is 10 over 4 or 5 over 2 once you simplify. Okay, so this one was I subtracted first, then I multiplied. What I could do is I could actually multiply everything by 5 first. So that 10 plus 6z is 25. Multiply by 5, 10. Multiply by 5, cancels out. Multiply by 5, 25. Now I could subtract 10, so that 6z is 15, and then divide by 6. Z is 15 over 6, but it's actually 5 over 3. Okay, so that is 10 examples now of solving with a unknown variable on one side of the equation. Okay, so now we're going to solve with the variable on both sides of the equation. So it just adds one extra step. That extra step is just get the variable to one side. Getting the variable to one side would just make it a one-sided equation. So we're just making one extra step now. So what would happen here if I subtracted 2x off both sides? I'd be left with 4x on the left, no x's on the right, equals 20. 4 times what is 20? 5. Or just divide both sides by 4. X equals 5. Hopefully you could pause the video now and try this one. Okay, before I do it, subtract 5x off both sides. 2x is now equal to 6. So x is equal to 3. Okay, now these ones are getting a little bit trickier because we've got a variable on both sides, 7y and 4y, and we've got numbers on both sides. So let's just go with what we've done usually. Subtract that 4y. Minus 4y off both sides. That leaves 3y minus 3y minus 4. And it's going to leave just 2 on the right hand side. Let's add 4, so that 3y is 6, and divide by 3, so y is 2. Question 4. Okay, I've got 11y on the right. So when I subtract 2y, I'm going to be left with 9y here. So 9y is 36. I'm just subtracting 2y off both sides. Now I'm just going to divide off that 9, so that 4 is equal to y. Okay, 4 more, and then we'll call it quits on this video. Okay, I've got 8d on the right hand side and 4d on the left hand side, so I'm going to subtract 4d off both sides. That's going to leave 5 on the left, and it's going to leave 4d minus 7 on the right. As long as I do the same thing to both sides, that equality will stay the same, right? It will still be equal. So if I add 7 to both sides, that equality is still equal because I've done the same thing to both sides. And now I divide by 4 on both sides. 3 is equal to D, and that's allowed. I've done the same thing to both sides. The same thing I could do to both sides here would be multiply through by 4, so that 5 minus A is left by itself. Cancel that denominator. So it's times by 4. And that's going to be equal to 8A. Well, I want to get rid of this negative A, so I'm going to add A to both sides, so that 5 is equal to 9A. Now I don't want 9A equals 5, I just want 1. So if I divide by 9, so 5 divided by 9 is equal to A, and I'm done. Question 7, let's get rid of this denominator. Let's multiply both sides by 2, so that 7 plus Q is equal to 4Q. Now I just want Q on one side, so let's minus that Q off both sides. There we go. Now I don't want 3Q equals 7, I just want Q equals something. So I'm going to have to divide by 3. 7 over 3. Question 8. Don't want the 6 in the denominator. I'm going to multiply everything by 6. C plus 1 is 6C minus 18. Subtract C off both sides. 1 is 5C minus 18. I don't want 18 and C on the same side, so I'm going to add 18. 19 is 5C. And I don't want 5C equals, I want C equals. So I'm going to divide by 5. 19 over 5 is C. And there we go. 10 questions with variables on one side, 8 questions with variables on both sides. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully you're making notes and you're trying these before the video goes through them, because that's how you learn maths.